Folks, welcome to the Leeds View on YouTube for the instant match reaction for Leeds United's 3-1 win against Burnley. And that has to be it, doesn't it? Has to be it. You have to be safe now at this point, don't we? 43 points Leeds. And if Leeds are in a relegation battle, then Newcastle United are also in a relegation battle, because Newcastle United dropped below Leeds as they move up one place into 14th place in the league. Another win for Leeds. There was moments in that game. There were definitely moments in that game where you were scratching your head a little bit. But in the moments that mattered, Leeds did enough to put the foot down and get the 3 points. Some decent performances, a couple of great goals as well, a couple of great passes. Could have been more. There could have been, I probably should have been, if a couple of passes were a little bit better, we could have seen more from it. But yeah, really good performance by Leeds overall. What they needed to do, they got the 3 points, moves Leeds on to 43 points. Currently, as we stand right now, 9 points clear Spurs. And more importantly, 9 points away from that bottom three spaces there as well. So a bit of work for them to do over the course of the week. Then Spurs will go and play away at Aston Villa on Sunday. I believe it's Sunday. So they've got work to do. And if Villa can sort themselves out from the disappointment in Europe during the week and go and beat Spurs, we could be going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium looking for just a point. That should be enough. But this should be enough to say right now, Leeds United should be safe. We should be safe. Anyway, I hope you're all having a really good day and weekend. That'll make the weekend an awful lot easier for all of us. If you want to get involved in player ratings, these are the current player ratings that are brought to us by Finalysis, the Leeds United fans. So if you want to get involved in this, there's a QR code down in the bottom corner there, or you can use the link and you can download Finalysis completely for free and join us over on Finalysis to give your player ratings, and we'll cover them in the match reviews and the podcast throughout the week as well. Yeah, we'll go through the game, but overall, did what we had to do, got the win. That's all that Leeds needed, really. I think a lot of us were saying before the game, it doesn't matter how Leeds get 3 points tonight, just get 3 points. Yeah, so as I said, Leeds did exactly what they needed to do tonight. We'll get your comments in the second half of the video. We'll get the initial thoughts out of the way. But yeah, before the game, we're all kind of thinking, I know a few people, I was in that bracket, starting to get a little bit nervous. You start looking at statistics like, Leeds hadn't scored against Burnley in their last 3 league meetings against them. They were all under Scott Parker. Maybe they made a mistake in changing their manager when they did. They should have maybe kept him a bit longer, given his record against Daniel Farke, but they didn't. They didn't do it with Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson wasn't able to get them the 3 points tonight. So from a Leeds perspective, it was a really, really important result. The goal difference is very healthy now as well. Leeds goal difference -5. Take those Arsenal games out of it this season. The Leeds have been in a really, really strong position in the bottom half of the table. We've only considered, 52 goals all season, which is not bad for a newly promoted side, as the everyone likes to say. But Leeds do move above Newcastle. You've now got 4 teams below us and looking for that final spot. And you've got to think the Leeds United are safe at this moment in time. The team sheet was going to be interesting coming into the game. The fact that Anton Stack was in that starting lineup says an awful lot to us. And he had a fantastic game. He was everywhere in the first half. His determination, his battling, his effort, his work rate, and a hell of a finish from distance as well. He was on top of everybody. And you talk about tempo setters and people to push the side forward. He was absolutely one of those people for Leeds. There was a couple of iffy performances in that first half by a few Leeds players. Tanaka was a little bit off it. Really good off the ball. Sloppy in possession. DCL wasn't winning an awful lot of headers in that first half. Sorted it out in the second half a bit better. They got better in the second half. Didn't start the second half great, but definitely grew into it and had that flurry in the middle of it. But it's funny to look at the statistics and see that by the end of the match, Burnley had 62% of the possession. Leeds just kind of, 52%, sorry, the possession. Leeds sitting off fair bit. They did it twice during that game where Leeds took the foot off the accelerator and sat a little bit. Never liked seeing it, but ultimately it didn't really have a massive impact on us. Overall, as a team performance, it was mature. There was just that little block where they got the goal and they had the offside goal in that spell that was a little bit sloppy, but you can forgive them at that stage. They just wanted to get across the line and they managed to do that. Go through the individual players. Carl Darlow, decent game. Distribution was all right. The 3 at the back, I thought were tidy. Pascal Stroke gets caught up for the goal, but I think you probably need to give him a little bit of slack on that. He did have the yellow card, couldn't commit properly to it as well. Thomas Bramwell, by the way. Why is he refereeing football matches? But yeah, Pascal Stroke can't commit to that tackle properly. Can't sort his feet out and it bounces up. And it's a hell of a finish from Shauna. So outside of that, pretty decent game by him. James Justin, Jayden Bogle, both very good in the fullback positions. 2 midfielders, Ampadu and Tanaka. Ampadu was okay. Wanted to keep it simple as much as he could, telling players to slow down. Tanaka, much better in that spell at the start of the second half than he was in the first half. He'd moments. Started the first half well, started the second half well. Got a bit sloppy either side of that. Anton Stack, man of the match for me. excellent performance, great goal, vitally important to this Leeds United side. Build your team around Anton Stach. Now, Okafor does what he does, scores another goal, the 6th Premier League goal in 7 matches, I think it is, which is a hell of a run to be on at this time of the season. Proven to be a really smart bit of business by Leeds United. The summer, Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets a real poacher's goal to give Leeds the 3-0 win, and the 3-0 at that stage, and then obviously they scored the goal to bring it back to 3-1. But yeah, overall solid substitutes were involved. Sean Longstaff looked the sharpest he's looked in a while when he came off the bench. Was busy, won a couple of tackles as well. Nobody really got a good kick at Hannibal, which is a real disappointment for me. But outside of that, Leeds handled it. Leeds contained them well. There were bits in it where I didn't love bits of it, but outside of that one little spell they had where they got the goal, they didn't really trouble us that much. So yeah, key moments in the game, I thought Leeds topped it. There was that moment towards the end of the second half where if Calvert-Lewin gets his head up a bit earlier, he can see Lucas Metzger's in acres of space. And then when he does finally see him, it's a really poor ball through to him. And then there's right at the very end as well, Sean Longstaff's pass to Dan James is just not far enough in front of Dan James to get him to run on to get close to the keeper before he gets that shot away. So there were moments in it, but the big moments, the goals that mattered. Stach's goal comes out of absolutely nowhere. It's a lovely ball into his feet from Jakob Biel. One touch out of his feet. I think the keeper thinks the ball is going wide, looking at the way he dives, but he smashes it into the near post. Beautiful strike, pure power as well. And it was said in our watch along on Big Up, people were saying this, that the lack of backlift and the power he can generate is something else from Anton Stach. There's some interesting statistics. I do love a stat, and people know that at this stage. But Anton Stach, I could find it. Yeah, Anton Stach, no one in the Premier League has created more chances than him outside of Bruno Fernandes. And if you go per minute, he's 61. He's level with Declan Rice and a few others. But if you go per minute, he played less games than all of them. I got 61 chances created this season. He's been a hell of a sign. And when you think he came into Leeds United as a central defensive midfielder that we were looking to sign. So not bad. Not bad, I suppose. What else? The second goal that goes in for Leeds coming from Noah Okafor. And it's a good shot from, sorry, that's the third goal. Second goal was DCL. Do you ever just look at your own handwriting and go, what the hell are you trying to talk about? DCL goes for the ball, breaks back. Oh, yeah. Ball goes to the right-hand side and DCL runs for it. It's a blind back heel. I don't mean blind as in he doesn't know he's there. It's a blind back heel in as far as he knows he's there. He doesn't even look, doesn't fake, just back heels it straight into the path of Jayden Bogle, and a lovely ball from Jayden Bogle, which he's done a couple of times this season towards the back post. And Noah Okafor, not the cleanest of strikes in the world, but just redirects it into the far corner. Not an easy volley to hit either. And manages to find the corner. Fantastic by him. And then literally 3 minutes later, Leeds make it 3 in Dominic Calvert-Lewin's one. It's a long throw-in that was flicked on, goes out to Okafor. He passes it square to Tanaka, who's saved by Dubravka, goes up in the air, and it's Bial and DCL. But it's a real poacher's finish. Dominic Calvert-Lewin just toe poke his foot through it. They've got a couple of decent players. Burnley, your man Chowna on the right-hand side for them. I thought he had a really, really good game. Ian Fleming was very notable by his absence in that match. He was throwing a few shoulders into people early on, but outside of that, didn't really do a whole lot else. Very little impact. The two centre-backs played more between each other than anything else. Not a huge amount of impact from a lot of their players, but yeah, I think Chowna's probably the one and that side that was probably their best player on the park, and he gets their goal. But outside of that, yeah, not a huge amount to talk about. It's just a professional performance by Leeds. I do get nervous at moments when we take the foot off the gas. We score early and you want to see Leeds drive on to get a second and third and fourth. And then they just ease back a little bit. And, there's moments. And then the second half, they start quicker than we started. And you're thinking, oh, here we go. We've seen this movie. But then Leeds put the foot down and we did enough to get the win. Referee, Thomas Bramall, we got exactly what we expected to get from Thomas Bramall. He started whipping cards out like it was nobody's business. Books Dominic Calvert-Lewin for God knows what. There's a tackle from Hannibal on Brendan Aronson where studs go into his foot. Could have looked at that a bit more. Didn't. Straight just gives me a yellow card. Pascal Stroke gets a very soft yellow card as well. That puts him on tenter hooks for most of the match and means that he can't tackle for most of that game. So Stroke did very well, to be fair to him, to manage to get through that game without any incident, considering the referee that was out there. But I'll jump into some of your comments now, because outside that, I mean, you look at the momentum graph, Leeds dominated for that little spell where they conceded the goal. Comfortable outside of that. Possession-wise, all the key stats, Leeds won them bar possession. And they outperformed their XG. 1.799, 1.65 XG for Leeds. Outperformed that. So, yeah, we'll jump into your comments, though, and we'll have a quick chat and see how you all are getting on. Danny Winter says, most vloggers have us winning another game. I think we got another win in us. I don't see us losing many games, to be completely honest. Chris Allen says, huge credit needs to go to the club as a whole. 49ers and Underwood got a lot of criticism at the start of the season, but they've proven they've got their recruitment bang on. But don't forget, the people that said they were doing it on the cheap in the summer will be the ones that will say it again next summer. But the players they brought in have all played their part this season. They've been very important to what Leeds United have done this year. Okafor has been a really good signing. I love Jacobi on that centre back. I think he's great. The goalkeeper question is one that might be a longer term question, might be the only one that is slightly off. But you look at that side, Bogle they brought in, Rodon they brought in, Biel they brought in, Justin they brought in, Tanaka they brought in, Ampadu they brought in, Okafor they brought in, Calvert-Lewin they brought in. That's a decent side. The only thing I didn't like seeing tonight was Andrea Radrizzani in the crowd. I'm not sure why he needed to be there. I'm being completely honest. The Leeds, Ellen Road Stadium was the bit that bugged me with him towards the end. He could have left on a better terms than he did. Human Bulldozer says, mathematically, we can finish 6th. Well, I mean, yeah. yeah. We're going on a European run. Is that what you're saying? We've got to go on a European run now. Enzo Francescoli says, good to see you, man. Says, great important win. Worried me when we started making them look decent. Would love to see us go Spurs and finish them off. PBDS says, don't predict a riot. I predict we're staying up. Jamie Farrell says, not a clinical up front as I'd like to see still. We need to sort that out in the summer. Yeah, there's still areas that need to improve, but the basis, I think, and the foundation, the core of that squad is good, is solid. There is definitely some additions that are needed. Star says, after Burnley away, I assumed we would finish 19th or 20th. Massively exceeded our expectations. Kinger says, at the beginning of the second half, we were like a big sleeping cat waking up and then pouncing on the prey. Absolutely, yeah. Legion United for life 87 says, imagine that all the wins this weekend are you just wouldn't put it past them though. You wouldn't. Born Slippy says Rads is buying Leeds back, I'm guessing. But he's gonna take credit for that win, as everyone's been saying. Of course he is. He was there, good luck charm, blah blah blah. Last time he was in that stadium, we got relegated. So, pick this game. They didn't announce or leak it this time. So there you go. Are we safe if Spurs lose? We are 9 points left to play for with a 9-point gap if they lose, which means a point there is enough mathematically. But they have to win every single game. Not sure they can do that. Chris Allen is only 4 points behind Everton. That is true as well. How far are we behind Sunderland, just out of curiosity? 3 points behind Sunderland. Should have beaten them. Chris Fay says, that was a huge 3 point stack. Is a Rolls Royce of a player. Great start at the weekend. Can sit back now and watch the drama unfold. Human Bulldozer, yeah. Let's go for Europe. 6 points from European spot at the moment. Paul Brennan. Hiya, Paul May. Hope you're well. Bramwell is a shambles of rest. Honestly, yellow cards like birthday cards. Danny Hill says, just wish when we need to kill time and control the game near the end, the keeper keeps kicking the ball along. Well, we don't do what other teams do. We keep playing our own game. Steco says, never hate a ref so much since Ray Tinkler, who cost us the League Cup in 1971, giving West Brom a clear offside goal. Sean O'Kane says, what a good result, and the manager should get a lot of credit. He should. We're safe. Job done. He's done his job. He has absolutely done his job this season. Mark Polzasak says, not 100% safe yet. My target is to get as many wins. Just keep going. Finish the season out now. Keep getting points. Another point between now and the end of the season will have us safe. That will do it. That horrible bloke that went over the Alps with elephants. Stroke prone to a lot of mistakes. I do think, Mick, that the yellow card was a factor in that, and initially I was like, come on, Stack. And then I realized I was told in the watch along he had the yellow card, and maybe that's a factor there as well. We can still beat Sunderland. We can, yeah. Bloody love this group of players. I do as well, Steve. I do as well. The work starts now. Recruitment now. Focus. You start moving on it. Paul says, when we drop off at the foot off the gas, I do worry. Yeah, I've said it for 3 years. I think the players they put into these squads are far better when Leeds go on the front foot and have a go at teams. I think our best form of defense is our attack, and we're so much better when we do that. But you can understand that moments this season where they will just sit back off a little bit. Comfortable performance, says Usher. I would agree with that. Pierre, good evening to you, mate. Says, and reminder, one game is against us. That is true. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the math. Yeah, it'll be an exciting. Well, West Ham have to play us and Spurs have to play us. So, if you pick up 2 points in those 2 games, we're done. Job done. Villa beat Spurs, then we send Spurs down at their ground. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Smash the hype and marching on together, says Robinson Clark. Thanks very much. If you could stick a like on the video, that'd be very much appreciated. It helps to get out to more and support the channel, feeds the algorithm. David says, I think we beat Spurs. I don't see any reason why we go to Spurs and be afraid. I think we can go to Spurs and be very confident that we could beat them. There's no reason why we can't. You know, they're supposedly a good side with good players. De Zerbi will have a go. Just don't play out from the back. That's the only thing. They will press high. Don't play out from the back. Go direct. Upset them a little bit. No reason why we can't get it. Leeds boy said, if Palace lose by 2 and Brighton eat the tune, both very plausible, we end the weekend in 13th. It is, yeah. Sarah, good evening to you. Said, I reckon we beat Spurs, especially after this. Again, no reason why. Richard says, hope we don't make too many changes next season. We are improving game on game. You do need to just improve certain areas. I mean, 14th at the moment. You want to progress and move forward. There are changes that you'll need to make. I think it's a case of replacing the players that haven't been involved this season with better caliber players, which raises the floor of the squad, puts more competition on players in place, which is always a good thing. Johnny says, DCL showed Jacko the moonwalk pass. That's good. Ronnie Murta says, thanks, Chair. Time to get some dinner. Enjoy your dinner, Ronnie. And Enzo says, the ref is so consistently crap, it's unbelievable. 5-2 to win versus Spurs. I might put my house on that. I mean, that would be a mistake that you'd make. Never put your house on anything. Packer Hervey says, Spurs technically might need to win 3 if they lose all 3-2. They possibly have enough of a goal difference by default if that happened. Not that it will. Point for us, and we're good. Anto Gartland, good evening, Anto. Hope you're well, pal. Said, let's just be grateful Bramall remembered who he gave cards to, writing him on his hand this time as well, just to be sure. You know, someone's screaming in his ear. And Housey, the hiker, says, West Stand tonight. Great atmosphere. What a win. Good evening, Good evening to you, mate. Bring on Spursies. And Pierre says, sorry about typos. I was getting too excited. Get excited, Pierre. It's every time to get excited. It's now. We're 14th place in the Premier League. We're moving up. Chris says, Spurs sent us down last. Oh, wouldn't it be sweet? And this, I think Dara from Leeds, that on the predictions video, he predicted Spurs. We would relegate Spurs at their ground. I mean, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Neil Leeds says, thanks, Jer. You're the best. Appreciate you, Neil. David Creswell says, I think we did enough. We did do enough. That's all we did. Good night, all. Pascal getting the yellow, stuffed Pascal, and he couldn't make tackles. Yeah, I think that was a fact. I do think that was a factor. Steve says, Palace have 5 tough games to finish the season. We can definitely finish above them. Mick Doyle says the players we sold haven't set their leagues alight, except for Rutter, perhaps. And he's been in there with the Brighton team, to be fair, Rutter. He hasn't played every single game. So go get the money, happy days. He also, Neil says, look, despite the Leedsies' fears, it was a professional, comfortable 3-1 home win. I genuinely see us winning 2 of the last 3, which 2 I'm not confident about. Yeah, just go win 2. Is it me or looking up? Yeah, we are. McAllister Bishop says, breaking news, Peppa Pig has done right. DCL looks so happy. He does. He looks very comfortable. Very, very happy at Leeds United. We're all Villa fans. My brother's a Villa fan. I'll be asking for favours this weekend. Kinger says, got to give credit to Farke for the performance. You do. Look, you got to give credit to Daniel Farke. We criticised Daniel Farke in the first half of the season. And I think the one thing we can say for the whole season is there was that big sliding door moment in the second half against Man City when his back was against the wall. And we were all saying it for weeks beforehand. This side is not built to play 4-3-3 and play it from the back. And you've got to give the manager credit, whether he landed on it, was forced upon him, or he chose to do it. Doesn't matter. He made the decision at halftime in Manchester City to go 3 at the back. And since then, we have played 4 at the back at times during matches. But since he started with that 3 at the back, it's been a different Leeds United side this season. They've been far better since they've gone to that. And you've got to give him credit for being self-aware enough to know that he needs to park his own footballing philosophies, play to the squad that he's got, and get results. And he's done that. It's his best season as a manager in England. He deserves a huge amount of credit for that. And he's done the job he was coming to do. We all said at the start of the season, well, the very large majority of us, 17th, I take it right now. I spoke to Andy Cousins and Paul Rainey at the Leeds Legends game at the end of last season, and I said to both of them, and Jermaine Beckford as well, you take 17th right now, wouldn't you? And everyone said, yeah, right now, you take it. Leeds have got a really good platform to build on. They've got to go and build on this now. The one thing that we didn't see when Bielsa had that really good finish in the Premier League, we got promoted the last time, the one thing we didn't do was go into a summer and strengthen that squad again. We sat on our hands and brought in players that didn't make an impact in the side. This is the time where they've got to see this as an opportunity to really nail down the more creative, difference-making players to try and put this side across the line and really push us on next season. Because defensively, I think we've got good defenders. There's a bit of reinforcement needed. The goalkeeper department we can talk about a bit more. I think we probably need a midfielder. If Marita is the one that comes in, Hidemasa Marita, that's a solid backup player to come in who can be rotational with Ampadu and gives a bit more quality in there as well. And then you're looking at bringing in 10s and maybe another different profile of number 9 that can change things up in certain matches. So it's a very positive position to be in at this moment in time. And we've gone through a lot of crap. We've had crap seasons, and we've had worrying seasons, and we've had poor moments in a season. So we should enjoy the rest of this one. It would be, I was going to say, it would be unseen for Leeds United to get relegated from this perspective. Hold my beer, Leeds. But if you look at like the form guide, in Leeds' last 5 games, 3 wins and 2 draws. That's a hell of a return for 5 games. What's that? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 points for the last 5 games is huge considering run 43 for the entire season. A quarter of our points have come in the last 5 matches, which is huge. We could start a season like that. We won't have to worry about much for the season. And again, seeing how tight the Premier League has become this season, as has already been said, you look at Brighton and 6 on 50 points, and we're on 43, 7 points off 6th place. We're way closer to 6th than we are to the bottom 3, and we're still a little edgy about that bottom 3. But yeah, look, there's a lot of good things hopefully to come ahead. Well done to the manager, well done to the players, just getting the job done that needed to be done, taking the pressure off and piling it on absolutely everybody else coming into this weekend. And we'll see what Spurs, West Ham and Forest can all do. And even Newcastle, I put them under a bit of pressure now coming into the weekend, because if they lose and Forest win, Newcastle drop again. So it's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, if you want to download Finalysis again, the QR code's in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And give me a follow over there if you want to get involved in our player ratings. This is all Leeds fan player ratings. No aggregates, no algorithms, none of that stuff. If you want to get involved, you can support the channel doing that as well. And we do a partnership with OK Jersey for 8% off for World Cup shirts for World Cup. Somewhere you can check that out down below. Outside of that, folks, have a fantastic rest of your day and your weekend. We'll have something out probably tomorrow evening or Sunday to review the game in full. Now watch it back with a calm head. But yeah, enjoy your weekend. Well done to the players. Well done to the gaffer. Well done to everybody. And we'll see how we go. Mind yourselves. See you later.